without divulging anything sensitive, what can you tell us about the use case and, the actual deployment? What was the process from planning to deployment to maintenance?
Yeah. So that was actually a rather large engagement, and that specific use case was along the lines of data center evacuation.
Mm,
So we had a customer that did actually have financial benefit from utilizing the VMC service as their primary data center, and to get out
mm,
of paying a colo and having to do a hardware refresh. So um, it it was a fairly involved process as far as doing the assessment of their on-prem workloads, and doing things such as application owner interviews to understand what's running in their environment, how critical it is, doing running some tools that can do dependency mapping to understand what VMs are talking to other VMs, so that we can really prepare for how VMs are going to migrate into the new environment, and what order they should go in. So it was a very long process of planning, like any other migration or data center move might be. Um,
right.
and then standing up the VMC service, building it up, connecting it to their on-premises environment, and then kind of going through a phased approach of migrating workloads based on the assessment that we provided to them earlier in the project, and essentially cutting everything over at the end of it, and migrating all of the network connectivity direct into VMC.
So
Yeah.
it really was the intention that they were going to leave wherever that data center was and have all of that in the cloud. That was the new home for this stuff. It wasn't DR, it wasn't a backup. This was the main thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, you still have just because you have your data running in the cloud somewhere doesn't mean that now all of a sudden VMware or AWS is backing it up. So it also did involve DR as part of that, with
Mm,
another
Yeah.
SDDC running in a different region, and using
hmm
some of the native tools that VMware provides as part of the service to facilitate the replication of the VM data, um, and the orchestration of being able to fail that over if need be in a worst case scenario.
Did they look at this as a transition for them? Like, we need to get the cloud, and so we're going to be, using VMC and AWS as a transition to help us get to, a cloud native future. Does that seem like the way a lot of companies are going with this, or not really?
Yeah, certainly. That is a big aspect, I think, also of what they did. They do realize they have a large AWS presence native as well, and they do realize that some of these applications may be a fit for refactoring and putting into AWS at some point. So I think also with that realization is that none of that was going to happen before their colo contracts and hardware refreshes were coming up. So yeah,
right.
it certainly is
Oh.
a way to get into something that's more as a service, where you can run your workloads and not be forced or maybe pressured to go through that process of refactoring and doing that, and maybe having a deadline tied to it.